What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another fake video, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at some of the top Ascension artwork, in my opinion, in the game. So going through this, we're going to go ahead and look at one from each class, like I do typically do that pretty much for all of those. One from the NA version, one from the JP version. Apologize if I sound a little sick, because I am, so if I sound a little stuffy, then I do apologize for that. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and start this video proper, and as always, we are gonna talk about sabers. So yeah, I thought this video would be a lot easier to make than it ended up being. When I look at the Ascension artwork, I don't actually like as many of them as I thought I was going to. So that certainly made picking like one really difficult for me. I did manage to do it though, and I guess I should point out this is strictly the 4th Ascension artwork. Some of the like the 2nd and 3rd Ascensions I think are actually better than the final ones, but for this video we went with just the final Ascension artworks. Maybe in the future I'll do like a proper tier list where I tier them all, but for now we're just gonna go ahead with one of each class. And for the sabers, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Sigrid. So Sigrid as a character, in my opinion, isn't really the best character out there, but his Ascension artwork does go pretty strong, and I'm a really huge fan of it. I love like the blades like circling around him and the ice aesthetic to it. It just makes him look really awesome and pretty much badass. And that's a pretty good theme for a lot of them. I guess you kind of have like sexy, and then you have like badass and cool types. But Sigrid is definitely in the badass and cool typing for me. I really liked the artwork. Definitely, this one was one of the easier choices for me as far as Ascension artwork goes. Some of them, on the other hand, were not very easy for me to pick. But yeah, so sabers, I'm a really big fan of Sigrid. So next up for archers, this one was also a pretty easy choice. We're gonna go with Summer Artoria here. We have Artoria on a bed in a swimsuit. Like, what more do you want? What more do I need to say, really? So yeah, pretty self-explanatory for this one. Just a really cool artwork, really cool design, and I was a big fan of it. Yeah. Close second for this one was Emiya Alter with his multiple weapons, where he's just kind of like hanging out there. But yeah, how can you pass up Artoria on a bed in a swimsuit? Next up for Lancers, we have Skahak. She was one of the earlier characters to come out in the game, but she still does have a pretty cool Ascension artwork, and it's just really, obviously like she's in like a really like seductive pose there, but at the same time, if you can kind of like pay attention to the details, you see those like red flowers on the bottom of the Ascension artwork. A lot of those flowers like represent like death, or like someone's gonna die, or like blood or something. I don't know what they actually represent, but when you watch anime and like the endings have those flowers, like it's like some sort of like tragic like anime where like someone's dying, and that's very symbolic, because she might look like that, but she's gonna definitely like rip your heart out with her spears there. So I really like the way it was put together there. Kind of tells like a little bit of a story. Alright, next up for Riders, we have Summer Mordred. This one was, the Rider class really doesn't have a whole lot that I like as far as Ascension artwork goes, but Summer Mordred is really cool. Just her, surfing those waves was a pretty cool one there. So I decided to go with that one. Next up for casters, we actually have, I was surprised by this myself when I actually went through all the casters and looked at their Ascension artwork, and ended up going with Mephisto here, and I wasn't actually expecting it, but his final Ascension artwork is actually pretty crazy. I just like the bombs that he's got going on there, and like the fire and destruction in the background, and him just kind of standing there in like a crazy like maniac pose, like enjoying the whole thing. And really, like, it just kind of clicks and just goes together really well, and I think it was pretty cool. So I ended up going with it. A lot of the casters are kind of just them just like sitting there, so him being in action, like blowing stuff up, was just really cool. I really liked it. Next up for assassins, we might have another interesting one here, but I did go with Henry Sanson here. Again, this was a surprise to me, but as I went through the Ascension artworks, I just really like this one. You have like the guillotine in the background because he's the executioner, and he's got his little blades going on there. You also do have like the little angels, kind of like more of like symbolism there, like taking the people he executed away. So it was really cool, and my favorite one of the assassin class. Moving on over to Berserkers, I went with Kualter. This is definitely another one of those badass ones where he's just kind of chilling somewhere with like destruction going on in the background and him just kind of having a good old time. Either him causing the destruction or him just like minding his own business, not really caring about what's going on around him. So yeah, it just gives off like a really cool vibe, like a really like strong, like I'm on top of the world type of thing. Like, you're not gonna take me. But yeah, Ku's a really cool character. I really like Kualter, and this was just a really cool artwork. Next up for the extra class and the final of the NA servants, we're gonna go with the Avenger class and go with Dante's. I'm a huge fan of the artist with the Danganronpa art, so that had a lot of points for Dante's to begin with, but his artwork's just really cool. I do prefer his summer artwork, but we're not going with Mystic Codes or Spiritron dresses, I guess is what they're called, the costumes. We're just going with the actual Ascension artwork, but his final Ascension artwork still pretty cool. And yeah, I really like the color contrast and whatever he's doing here with these little orbs and stuff. Like, that was really cool. It really pops out, and the shadow in the background. Yeah, so just really cool Ascension artwork in my opinion. So now moving over to the JP side, and this is a little bit more difficult because there's just not that many characters to choose from. But there were still some really cool ones out there that I really did like. But we did go ahead and pick one for each class, and starting with Sabers, we went with Muramasa. So he makes this list for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's because it's Shiro, you know, like a long-awaited character, and finally in the game, he looks really cool. I don't like the white hair Shiro, so it's cool that he went back to normal red hair for the final Ascension. And then he's like drawing his sword, and it's really flashy, and just has a really cool presentation, and really pops out at me. So definitely, this one was a really easy choice for me for Sabers. Moving on over to Archers, and this one was a little bit of a more tougher choice, but I did go with Summer Ilya. I just like the fact that like she's like flying around on the ocean, and you have all the different like colors and like the rainbow scheme and stuff. It's just the overall presentation is really cool, and it paints a pretty cool scene. And yeah, I found it pretty cool, and I enjoyed it, so made the list. Next up for Lancers, we have Melusine. I don't even know what this actually is, but like just the bug ink thing is really cool, and it's kind of like a bit of a contrast as well with like the light at the top and then like the ink or whatever that is on them on the as like darkness on the bottom. So it's kind of like a split between good and bad, light and darkness, and it's just a pretty cool artwork. As far as writers go, this was the toughest choice in my opinion, but I did go with Elizabeth, her Cinderella costume. So yeah, this one was just really cool in my opinion, because it's kind of like from like a first person perspective where like you're the one reaching out to her, and then you can see like the glass, it looks like glass in the background is like shattering. So it just seems really cool. Like she's like breaking through like the glass ceiling or the mirror or something to come to you. Again, a really cool, it looks very symbolic and stuff, so again, I really like this one. Next up for casters, I'm going with Artoria caster, and I didn't really like any of the casters' final ascensions. I actually like Artoria caster's third ascension more, but we are ranking the final ascensions here, so I did go with that. I still do prefer it to the other ones, and I mean there's only 5 casters to choose from here, but Caster Artoria does end up on top here. It's still a good one, you know, just her laying in some flowers with her staff, and it kind of has a little bit of a parallel to Merlin for like the NA version with Merlin, because he kind of has like the whole flower petal thing going on for him. So it's kind of like a cool little like parallel to that. So that was kind of cool, and I did enjoy that. Moving on to Assassins, and there's only 2 to choose from, so the decision wasn't really that hard to make, but it was kind of just like a default here. We went with Koya and Skaya. Again, I don't actually prefer this one the most. I think her third ascension is better, but again, final ascension onlys. And you know, it's just cool. She's at like a poker table. Of course, she had to bring her sniper with her, but she's dressed up pretty cool there, and just a lot happened in here, but it is a lot of really cool stuff. And like I said, it kind of is just by default, but she does have a pretty cool Ascension artwork overall. Moving on to Berserkers, and we do have Morgan as the choice for me. All of Morgan, like Morgan's character design is just really cool in my opinion, and she's a really cool character as well. But I just like the dark, like the black and the dark blue aesthetic. I just think that like that's like a really good color pattern, and it works really well. And just yeah, easily the best. Well, not easily. Berserker Say was a pretty close second, but outside of those two, they stand above the other ones pretty easily in my opinion. And then finally, we are going to end it with a bang here and go with Avenger, and we're going to go with Kama here for the final one. You guys can just take a look at that picture, and pretty self-explanatory why that one makes the list. Really out there as far as the Ascension artwork goes. Probably one of the riskiest Ascension artworks they've gone with. I know Nitocris has some pretty crazy ones, but this is definitely up there with that. So yeah, that is a list of my top Ascension artworks. Again, I do apologize for sounding the way I sound and probably sound like crap. But yeah, I'm kind of got a stuffed voice. I can't really talk too loud because then like my throat hurts and then I have to like stop talking. So I kind of just power my way through it. Like we only have 2 days left in the 25 Days of Fate, so I'm not about to give up now. So here we go, roughed it out for this video. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below like what your favorite Ascension artworks are, and I'll be back tomorrow for the final episode of the 25 Days of Fate. So I'll see you guys then.